David and Suzanne came into our office. They accumulated $3.2 million, and as they're approaching retirement, they have one question on their mind. Are we good? You might have those same types of questions on your mind. Are we good? Have I accumulated enough? Have I saved enough? Am I allocating the right amount of money to stocks, bonds, real estate? Should I do a Roth conversion? Are you concerned about IRMA calculations and Medicare and all of these things that go into approaching retirement? Today, we're breaking it down for you so you can have better peace of mind around, am I good?
All right, grab your favorite mug. It's time for coffee with your retirement coach.
Welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Your Retirement Coach. Your coach is behind the clipboard today. Hi, I'm Nic Yeomans, and with me, as always, my partner, my pal, my dad, my good friend, Randy Yeomans. How you doing?
Doing great, Nick.
Good.
Good to be here.
Yeah, today, Randy, we're discussing the question, are we good? And we're ranging everything from retirement accounts to Social Security. People have a lot on their minds. Some people have more confidence than maybe they should.
Yeah.
And on the other end of the spectrum, some folks could do a whole lot more than they are if they just knew their numbers.
Yeah.
I think this is a good conversation today.
Yeah, I think it is, Nick. And to me, so much of life is a confidence game. And we do have kind of two different people. People are way underconfident about where they're at. And sometimes that's because they really aren't competent in this area. This is not their field. This is not their expertise. They're very smart, but they really don't know how to measure that. And then we have other people who are super confident. And like you said, maybe they shouldn't be. But let's talk a little bit about what would somebody do who's a few years away from retirement. They've got the Social Security decision. Do I do Roth contributions or conversions? What about IRMA? What's this IRMA thing? Where did that come from? And how do I keep from catching it? What are all these things? And I look at it like this. This is very common. I've been doing this for a long time. You've got somebody, they've gone through life like most of us do, and along the way, they've started accumulating things, and they've got a bank account here and a brokerage account here, then brokerage account here. They've got an old 401k, they've got an IRA, they've got an IRA rollover, they've started a Roth.
Yes.
They're wondering, what should I do about a 529? They've got all of this stuff, and then they've got the CPA or accountant, or TurboTax, and then they've got an attorney that they met with that did estate planning documents some time ago. They've got an investment advisor that's, they like the guy or gal, but they really don't sit down and have this dialogue. And I think what happens is people realize, I've got a lot of stuff, but I really don't have a plan. I really don't have a strategy. I don't have a tax strategy. I don't have an income strategy. I just want to know that one day I can go, I'm good. I can actually push the button. And is that now? You know what's cool? Several times I've met with people and they said, in 5 years, I want to retire. And I said, okay, why 5 years? Well, I think by 5 years, I said, and this is an unbelievable question. What if you could retire today? And just the change that comes over their face.
That's real life. Yeah.
Do you think I could? Well, let's look. You know what I mean? Where do we get this information? And again, one of the things that happened is we grew up in an era, many of us, certainly people around my age, where what you would do is you get a good job, you'd stay there forever, and they promised if you stayed here, we'd take care of you.
25 years, 30 years.
Right. And then
pensions, goodness and mercy will follow you.
Yeah. And then along the way, what happened is companies shifted the retirement planning from them doing it for you in combination with something like Social Security to you do it yourself. You've got a 401k or a self-directed retirement account and all that. And you might be the best widget maker, widget distributor, widget salesperson, whatever, but you just don't do this every day for a living.
Right.
We used to have actuaries do this. We would have people do the accounting so that they knew. What we need to do for clients who come in with that question is give them a path and a plan, and more importantly, give them confidence that yes, you're on the right track or you're already good.
Yeah. Well, and I think the framing that you're using is spot on. And that's so important question. Like, why did you pick 5 years?
Right.
If you could do it today, would you?
Yeah,
I mean, that's life-changing for some people.
It is, and I tell you what, I've had many people, and I tell you what happens a lot. I'll go through it, and I'll show them where they are. Like right now, I'm just using a number. You could retire and have $12,500 worth of income coming in today. If you wait to when you're thinking it's 15,000 more than likely. I mean, this is all fungible, but all things being equal, that's what it is. So do you want to work those X more years to get to 15, or are you good with 1250? And many times people take that in, and it's a little hard to believe for some of them. Some of them are way off from their target, okay?
Right.
They're overconfident and underfunded.
Right.
But those people who have that, here's what happens over and over again. They do want to retire early, and they want to know at least that they could, but here's what happens. They don't do it right then, but 6 months to 12 months later, they've pondered that, it's sunk in, they want to revisit it, and they push the button and realize, I could have retired, but they just needed time to digest that.
Yeah, yeah. And that is so true. And I've seen it so many times where people, it's like they had to let it soak in, and they had to be able to address it with their spouse and even think through, well, my relationship life, it's caught them off guard. They're having to rethink their life because they were thinking they had 5 years to make some of those decisions, and where the relationships and what they're going to retire to, and hobbies and all these. And now it's fast forward. Well, if I could retire today, and it's hitting them like a lightning bolt, right?
Yeah, there's so much goody in what you're talking about there, because one of the things that they have to determine that comes up a lot of times is, now what am I going to do with that time? I know I've wanted an escape, but now what I'm going to do. A framework that I give people to think about is if they would think about them as you incorporated, if they think about themselves as a business, like if I was a business, You Inc., what would I need to have in place so that this thing was run, this engine would run, this company would run properly? Do I have the right benefits for myself and my spouse? Am I going to have to make up a gap between an early retirement and when I'd be eligible for Medicare? Like, what are some of those things? But here's how cool the brain is. When we identify with somebody that they have a path to success so they can have confidence with it, what happens is their brain, this is the way all of us work, they begin to create all the obstacles of why that wouldn't work. That's just how people are wired.
Right.
So I can't do that because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And what happens is then they have this great big pile of things that keep them from taking action because they really don't have confidence yet. But if they work with the right financial planning firm, a firm that understands the things that we're talking about today, we tackle each of those things separately. You don't tackle them all as one thing.
Right.
You break it down. Well, what would you do if you retired at 60 instead of 66 or whatever it might be? What would you do from a standpoint of making up the gap? Do you start taking retirement distributions from your retirement account? When do you turn on Social Security? Like, that's too much for most people to process. It's not what they do, but it is what we do.
Yeah.
So what we do is we break each one of those things down and we address them so people can see what the real obstacles are. They're not the big obstacle. They're little bitty obstacles. It's you're eating the elephant one bite at a time. And then when we go through that process with people and they realize, hey, I am good, then they get another decision. Do I love what I'm doing? If I love what I'm doing, why would I retire? But you know what I've had other people do, this is really cool. They will decide that they can go back to their firm because they are a value player. Typically, people at that age group fit in one of two categories. They're really riding it out, or they're really contributing to the company. And if you're really contributing to the company and you know you're good, like you don't have to work is optional, then you can negotiate with your employer, hey, I think I want to work 3 days a week, or I want to work remotely, or I want this other position.
Or I want to raise.
Or you know what? Here's what I would like to do. And they say, well, I'm sorry, we don't do that. Great. They can leave and they can go find their dream job. Sometimes that dream job is consulting. Sometimes it's paying more.
Sure.
Sometimes it's a job that gives them great personal fulfillment, or it's even volunteer work that they can do. But what they've got is the option of doing it because now they have the confidence that I'm good.
And that's huge. That's huge.
It's unbelievable.
And really what that does, when you have confidence in knowing your numbers, what you have now is options.
Right.
You know what your trade-offs are. You know that you can make different decisions. Where people oftentimes feel trapped is because they don't even know, and they're too scared to act because it might hurt them, right? I can't do this because it might hurt me later on, in 5 years from now when I retire, when the reality was they were free all along.
Right.
right?
So, this is coming from the guy that's called the retirement coach that won't retire, because I do love what I do, and you can tell I'm passionate about it.
I have not picked that up.
But I get to do all the things I want to do. I get to travel. I get to do all the things that I want to do, and I get to continue to help people make these kind of decisions. And the stuff that we teach in our office are things that we know that we deal with individually, like being financially independent and not having to work and choosing to still work. That's a very different thing than having to work.
Yeah.
And so I think the opportunity that we have that is seldom used in the marketplace is having people really get all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed. If I've got a really analytical person, we may have to run the numbers 3 or 4 different ways for them to see it and have confidence. If I've got a person who's, really kind of a dreamer and they love life, I may have to pull them into those numbers and give them a budget to work within so that they can stay confident and we can help them. But annual review, sitting down with somebody, once we've got everything put together and we know them, we know what they want, and now we're tweaking things. See, the thing about it is that plan has to work if the market has a 50% crash tomorrow. It has to work if the market is up.
Yeah.
And it's not planning done by selling people products like you hear out in the marketplace, all these crazy seminars
stuff.
and
Yeah.
stuff that are out there. This is actually taking an approach like you would if you were standing before, a financial judge and they said, why are you doing what you're doing? You can lay out, I'm doing this kind of diversification, this tax strategy.
Yep.
I'm using this period of time to take advantage of my lower income to do things like Roth conversion, like a full plan, a tax plan, an estate plan, investment plan, all of that stuff. Most people aren't going to do that themselves, but they want to make sure that they've got somebody who will help them do that. And my best clients are highly successful delegators. People who say, I want to oversee it, but I want you to do the work. And I want you to show us that we're good. And I think that kind of experience that we have with so many of our clients is good. And when we get that wonderful, kind of feedback sometimes, people are sometimes so generous in what they say about the work that we've done for them. I mean, it's very flattering in a lot of ways. And they bake cookies, please don't. But the thing that it does for me is it's so fulfilling to me to know that I've helped somebody who really was stuck. Yeah. And they really didn't know their capacity, and somebody unlocked that capacity for them, and now they've got freedom. And that freedom could include helping their kids, or helping a grandchild go to college, all kinds of things that they could do that they didn't know that they had. And wouldn't it be a shame to have, someday I'm going to do this, someday I'm going to do that, and never know that someday has come? So we want to help people understand what that looks like and give them greater capacity by using the necessary tools and strategies that we've put together over, 4 decades to make sure that they've got a good, solid plan.
Randy, you saying that, it triggered kind of a painful, life-changing moment in my career and in our practice, really. I was sitting down and doing a routine review with a client. This is a number of years ago, and he has since passed, but I'll call him Bob. And so I'm sitting down with Bob. Bob was retired military. He was successful in a lot of aspects in his life, accumulated a fair amount of wealth, and Bob was very stoic, very direct. I always felt like I was in trouble.
I know who you're talking about.
When I was sitting down with Bob. But what was interesting is Bob sits down with me, and I never see him show real emotion. Mm-hmm. And on this particular day, he starts crying, tears coming down his face. And he looked at me and he said, Nic, I don't know where it all went. Now, when I first heard that, is he talking about money? Did he lose something? Like, what is he talking about? He says, I don't know where it all went. And Bob at the time is right around 85, 86 years old. And I said, Bob, what are we talking about? And he said, time. I don't know what I did with the last 20 years of my life. He said, I didn't do the things I said I was going to do. I didn't go places. I didn't do the things with my wife before she passed. I didn't do it. And now I can't.
Yeah.
And he said, let me let me help you, son. He said, do the things.
Wow.
Live life.
Yeah.
And go take advantage of your opportunities. Don't, and he said it was something like, don't be me. But what he was saying is like, don't be like me. Like, don't let it waste. Don't let it go aside.
Absolutely.
And Randy, at that moment, man, it hit me here that I was going to have these really important, life-changing conversations with clients going forward. Mm-hmm. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Let's live intentionally.
Yeah.
Let's be very intentional. Let's know our numbers so we can be confident, but then go live your life.
Yeah,
go
absolutely.
do the things you love and you care about that you've said we're going to be someday or one day things, right?
Oh gosh, Nic, you make me think about, for the couples that we work with, how frequently I'll have one of the spouses who wants to be a big giver. They support a lot of organizations and they want to take care of them. And the other spouse maybe is more concerned. What if we go into a nursing home and we won't have the money? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So somebody's the governor, somebody's the throttle, And what's so great about giving both those people confidence, and again, I'm thinking as you're saying that, like people wait till they're going to sell their home and downsize to redo their kitchen. And, so one of the things I would
or
say.
Or floors, guilty. Yeah.
There's so many of my clients as they approach and go into retirement that redo their kitchen because they get permission, so to speak, to do it. Like, this will not blow up your plan, to do that. But enjoy your home. Make your home a nest. Make it comfortable. Do those. If you've got the means to do it, don't do it as you're about to put it on the market and sell it. Fix that stuff up today. And I'm not talking about being a spendthrift. I'm talking about logical planning. Just like if it's you Inc., you've got a budget for these kind of things, and we can run the analysis. And vacations, like right now, I've had many people who say they want to travel, but they don't know where they are in a budget. I said, well, let's do a budget right now for the next 5 years, because right now you have your health. 5 years from now, you may or may not have your health, but right now we can do it. So let's run. What if we did that?
Yeah.
So putting in those
like
important
spending
things,
plan, in place.
It really is.
Yeah.
And look at what phase of life you're at today. Like, when are you more likely to do some of these things that involve mobility and all that kind of stuff? Or, you've been putting off. And it is so funny to hear. So I'm going to write a book one day about all these things that clients come up with, like, how much they want to put in dental work. Like, I am, 90, so, this is probably my last car. Well, let's not think that way. Yeah. But, some of the stuff that you go through, but what a shame it is that poor Bob, didn't do some of this stuff. And I'm going to tell you where I feel like we can't let that happen again. We're failing people if we don't give them the opportunity to do it. And what's one problem with our industry is, if I'm having a conversation that you've had a savings plan your whole life and I want to help you have a spending plan, then I can look like a poor financial planner. But in reality, here's what I think happens, Nic. Many firms that their primary focus is just managing the money. That's what they do. They don't want their clients taking money out to spend it on things because they get paid to manage
cut their
the
fees.
Money. Right. But in reality, they didn't hire us for that. They hired us to have the kind of life that they want. So what we ought to be able to do is show them what a reasonable person could do. And I've got a couple of clients. I just love some of these clients that I get to work with. One of them has an older car. He'll know if he listens to this what I'm talking about. And he doesn't have anything, like, he doesn't try to keep up with the Joneses. He's very well off financially, but he doesn't need another car. He'd rather have a great bike. But there's people who are not doing things because they just don't want to.
It's not a value.
Not a value to them. And then there are other people that don't know that they can do it, they need some guidance in that area. And that's why it's so good to have that kind of right relationship with people. And what I love about our business and what we can do, and I'll wrap up my part up with this, Nic, it's that when you get people talking about what's important to them, what their values are, and about their money, man, we get to know these people better than almost anybody in their life, because you don't talk to people about your money. You don't talk to people about your kids or their problem or your grandchild that's going through some kind of struggle. You don't do that with just anybody. But because of our tax, estate, and investment planning strategies, those conversations have to occur. And we feel a passion towards helping those people navigate that and letting them know, by the way, You're not the only one. You're not the first client to tell me that. But this idea that we can help somebody retire early if they want to, keep working but have other options if they want to, travel, do the kitchen, as you did another episode, take the trip. Yeah. I mean, I just think it is such a great thing. If you've accumulated wealth, if you've got $3.2 million and you're looking at, can I retire today? And you have somebody run through that and find out, yeah, you can't do it yet because you've got to have a $5,000 or $50,000 a month budget, or you can do it because you only need $12,500 or something like that. Know your numbers. And we get the wonderful opportunity to do that with people.
Man, this is one of my favorite episodes we've done in a while, because we're going to help set so many people free to go live the kind of lives they've been called to live, right? And for you, our audience today, our job is to try to help you marry the qualitative part of your life and the quantitative part of your life, knowing your numbers, the math, knowing your portfolio, like what it can actually do for you, the spending plan, the tax plan to eliminate unnecessary taxes. And then that qualitative part of your life, the part that says, hey, what am I called to do? What is my purpose, my passion, my mission? What's the desire of my heart? What is the thing that I've been putting it off for just too long, and then making those things come together? Like, that's what we're on mission to do, helping you put those things together so you can have a real quality life. I'm so glad that you joined today. And if you have questions, our contact information is in the show notes below. Thanks for being here, and thanks for staying coachable.
We hope you enjoyed today's show, but you may have questions for our coaches, and they can be emailed at connect@meritfa.com. If you know someone that needs to hear this episode, we encourage you to share it. As a reminder, the content of this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as advice. Investment advice offered through Merit Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor.